What's up, everybody? This is the 10After7 podcast, episode 13, and today the special guest is my older brother, Dylan Stephenson. Big Dill, how's it going?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So today we're going to just jump right into the last two episodes of The Last Dance and kind of rank it to see where it stands as far as 30 for 30s go and other sports documentaries out there.
Sounds good.
All right, so I got to ask you first, what did you want or expect from this documentary going in when it first started back a couple of weeks ago?
I just wanted to see, exactly how MJ compared to, our generation growing up. I mean, I remember kind of watching him in the 98 finals when Dad had that game on, but I wasn't obviously paying attention like I am today, and how actually good of a player he was.
First of all, are you cracking a beer? Because I did.
Yes, I am.
Which one?
Little Sidewalk Surfing by Pizza Port.
All right, I got a Big Wave Golden Ale by Kona. Yeah, I kind of am in the same place as you as far as Michael Jordan. You're 2 years older than me, so you probably do remember that in 1998. I don't remember it at all. I wish we could go back and watch those games like we do today, breaking down basically every possession down on the court, especially with LeBron James nowadays. So coming in, I just wanted to see how good he was, and I wanted to see those stories come out, which did, about how aggressive and how intense he was as a teammate. And what stories did you take from those of how he treated his guys?
I kind of understand it as, when you're that good and that great, you're just different. The one thing he had on his mind was winning. There was nothing else. It was just winning. He didn't care if people didn't like him. He was just trying to pull those guys along. And same thing with Kobe Bryant. People didn't like him as a teammate, but he's a legend the guy was a gamer. He took everything from the book from, MJ. And, some of the shit he would say to his teammates was fucking classic on there. So, calling Scott Burrell a hoe constantly and, you better make this or I'm going to whoop your ass.
Yeah, I love that he called Scott Burrell a hoe. Just calling any dude a hoe is a great freaking comeback to anything. I'm going to start using it. Probably should use it to a minimum. The other question I have, in these last two episodes, they talk about his security guards. I thought that was one of the best moments because we actually got to see Michael Jordan, the person, because all of this was about the 1998 season, how he treated teammates, how he treated opponents, and to see those two guys by his side the entire way, and Gus, the one being kind of a father figure, when his father passed away, just incredible in that last episode when he's going through cancer, and Michael Jordan made sure that's who got the game ball when they were playing Indiana in that Game 7.
Yeah, it was that was pretty touching because he doesn't get along with too many people, and for him to look at that dude like it was his father figure, and to see the way they dealt with each other, and how he said when he was out sick and how he came back and he's like, yeah, the reason we were losing, man, was because of you, or you were gone. So to see, how just some ordinary dudes that, were security guards for the greatest player at the time in the world, and how close he was to them was pretty awesome to see.
Well, and that was another cool thing because obviously they followed the team around during that 98 season, and that's how we got all this footage. And the one footage that stood out to me is how many times did they show him in that back room before games, just sitting there shooting the shit with those guys. That was the only time you could really think, damn, this is the one time during the day where Michael Jordan could kind of just be himself and relax. And those were, 10, 15 minutes before a game started?
Yeah, how he was playing, quarters with the Jerry Curl motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
And how MJ basically got his ass kicked in that game by that guy. But it just showed that, being that famous was hard to be normal.
And then we also got in the last episode is the famous flu game. A lot of people are actually debunking the pizza story because who orders a pizza that late at night when you have, it sounded like there was 4 to 6 guys in that room with him, and he's the only one that eats the entire pizza.
I think it's just crazy how everyone calls it the flu game, but it was basically food poisoning.
But do you believe it was the food poisoning game?
I mean, yeah, I can't really believe anything else.
There's rumors that he might have went to Vegas the night before.
I don't believe it, but people can say what they want. Like it's just facts.
Well, yeah, and so this entire documentary, I love the ending. The ending was awesome, and I think Phil Jackson comes out. If it's not Michael Jordan who we're talking about in this documentary, it's for sure Phil Jackson. You have that final series, the way it ends with Michael Jackson, or I almost said Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan saying all those guys wrote what that team meant to him, and then Phil Jackson shuts off the lights, and they make a bonfire out of all the paper, and apparently Jordan wrote a poem. I think Phil Jackson, hands down, I don't think any question that he's the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, hands down. How many rings does he have? He has 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, for him to have
Cash?
Yeah, it was cash.
It's all right, dude. Hang in there.
Yeah. He has 11 championships, and 2 of them 5-5 were, two of the greatest players to ever play the game. And to see how he dealt with those guys, it's pretty touching to see that, because if there was any other coach on there, I don't know if those coaches can handle or put up with MJ and Dennis Rodman and Kobe's attitude back in the day. I don't think there's any other coach that can deal with that.
Well, for instance, they have that story, which is absolutely incredible, that Dennis Rodman misses practice before Game 4 of the NBA Finals to go do WWF. And Phil Jackson really kind of jokes about it. You could tell deep down he's so furious at Dennis Rodman for doing that. But at the end of the day, he kind of let Dennis be Dennis because he knew he was going to get 100% on the floor.
Well, that's why, that just shows he had a lot of trust in his players. Dennis was wild and out of control, but he knew game time, Dennis Rodman was going to show up and perform.
And so this documentary, right after it ended, you had people like me and you were like, damn, this was incredible. One of the best documentaries I've seen. And of course, Twitter started ranking it immediately. They said, oh, is this the best ever? And a lot of people shot it down saying, how could it be the best ever if Michael Jordan gets final say? So it's kind of graded on a curve there.
I'm with them on that. To be honest, it was a great documentary. It was put together well. I don't think it's the greatest, though. I really don't.
Well, no, OJ Made in America is the best ESPN's ever done.
I don't think so either on that.
What?
Yep.
So what ranks up there for you?
I'd have to say, it brought joy and almost tears to me when I watched it. Was the one with North Carolina State.
Survive in Advance, Jimmy Valvano.
Survive in Advance with Jimmy Valvano. How they performed with Jimmy Valvano in his probably weakest times, and how he took a team like that and won it all.
Yeah, that's a very good one. I forgot about that one. Obviously, I'm biased. I like Unguarded. It's one of my favorite.
That's not actually even a 30 for 30. Did you know that? That's a ESPN short film.
Yeah, I just realized that when I was looking at 30 for 30s a couple days ago. It's still in the same genre.
It's definitely a great one, but I think another good one was Rand University, about Randy Moss and where he grew up, and he still talks to those boys, and how some of the guys that he hung around back then ended up at Rand University, which was the little 7-Eleven right there on the corner.
Yeah, that's a classic one. So, as far as this one goes, though, do you have a problem with Michael getting final say?
Yes, I do, because that's bias. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, there were some things in there that, yeah, it did make Michael look like, at his down times. But at the same time, like, if you're going to make a documentary on someone, like, put it in your perspective. Like, why would you go to MJ?
Well, he's the one that had the rights to this film that's been sitting on the table for 20 years.
Well, there you go. So, like, everyone now, like, for instance, the whole flu thing. Did that really happen? We don't know that. It's him and his boys saying that. So, yeah, I think it's a little biased, but don't get me wrong, it's still a great documentary.
So if you take Michael Jordan out of the documentary, if he's not in it, they have the same footage, they have the same stories. How do you think it plays?
I think people make up more.
I still think it's great because I think his competitors, no matter how much they hate talking about him, bringing back the memories of them losing a title,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more respect than anyone that Michael Jordan gets from his peers.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think every player, no matter dislike or like, I think they, respect the hell out of him. Like, his game was unbelievable.
So, your thoughts on Scottie Pippen?
God, they really made him look like a little bitch in that documentary. To be honest, I think so. Like, Scottie with the sitting in the bench scenario, and then the sick. He was sick that one game, right?
Yeah, he had a migraine and the 90.
He had a migraine, and then I mean, they kind of made him seem at the end like, yeah, he really was struggling from back pain. But like when he left the game, I was like, wow, they are not making him look good at all.
Yeah, that was a rough one. And during that entire, you forget because they talked about it in episode 1, that 97-98 season, he decided to get surgery during the year, so he missed, I think it was like 40-something games.
Yeah, and I don't respect the fact that in that game he sat out, how he said he would never...
He doesn't regret it. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of ridiculous. Like, you literally sat out the last play because you weren't going to get the ball. And then, your team just won and you act like that. Like, come on. You're a professional athlete and you're a great one at that. And then you act like that? Come on, dude.
Seriously, that even goes back to Phil Jackson again. You said it, like, how no coach could really handle those personalities. And Phil Jackson is the best at it because that situation in the middle of a playoff series, I think there's probably a fight in any other locker room, but those guys were bonded so strong. They were probably even bonded more because that was the year Michael Jordan took off to play baseball. But man, Phil keeping that shit together, I think...
Even Phil, like, are you going in? No, I'm not. And Phil's like,
fuck him, yeah.
Shit. Yeah, let's go.
I agree with everything. I still think it would have been a great documentary if they didn't get Michael. It was cool to see Michael because we know Michael doesn't do any interviews or anything. And our generation and a bunch of other generations now have these 10 episodes forever that we could show our kids. You could show Cash and Kai when they grow up. Like, he's the ultimate competitor. You definitely take something from it. Like, you definitely have to be wired differently if you want to get to the heights that Michael Jordan got to.
Definitely. And that's why, I respect him because I know teammates are... You being a teammate is very important, but at the same time, like, those guys would have not celebrated any championships if it wasn't for Michael pushing them the way he did in practices.
Yeah, and they all feel that way too. So we turned on SportsCenter right after you said turn it off right away because it was already began Michael Jordan versus LeBron, and I thought it was freaking crazy. Of course, right when this documentary ends, you're gonna have a poll of who's the better player. The problem I had though, they said better passer, and 74% of the people said Michael Jordan. Like, LeBron stopped playing basketball, and we forget about that. I don't care. Recency bias, forget it. That's the most absurd thing ever.
Like, again, like, they did that right after people just watched, 10 hours of Michael Jordan.
So you're saying I fell into the trap and got mad?
No. I'm saying other people fell into the trap and got mad. For voting 74%, Michael Jordan was a better passer.
Yeah, and for a while...
Just watched 10 hours, and when's the last time we've seen LeBron play? Months?
Yeah.
So, I just think it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you come out with that right after, and then first of all, like, come on, we're back on the fucking Michael Jordan LeBron comparison. I'm so over that. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you do that to both guys. Like,
and of course, LeBron went on Instagram, had his show that he had, and he says that he would have loved to be teammates with Michael Jordan, and then that gets twisted. Like, oh, of course, LeBron wants to play with Michael Jordan.
First of all, you can't compare either of them. They play in two different generations of how the game was played, and the game isn't played that way anymore. I mean, LeBron gets tapped on the freaking wrist, and it's a foul. And you get to punch MJ in the face with an elbow or, a fist for it to even be a foul.
That's true. Yeah, I just don't think that debate's ever going to go away. And as far as documentaries go, how many players do you think are going to allow access for an entire season now that they've seen what this has done for Michael Jordan 20 years later?
I mean, it all depends on, who the player is. I mean, didn't they say, like, Kobe Bryant followed, or was followed the whole last season of his career? It kind of sucks, like, to hear that, by the way, because his last season, like, yeah, I get it, it's your farewell, but that wasn't your best season, bro.
Yeah, but it'll be cool, that 60-point game, if they show, like, the day-to-day, him leading up to getting there, because his body was torn up, and that would be cool to see, like, how he got up in the morning, and how he was, like, going to bed that night, because that dude's body was completely broken.
Completely broken.
Yeah.
But there's another guy right there. Like, he said he wouldn't have got his 5 championships without MJ. And people don't really see that of how big of a gamer he was and how much alike he was of MJ.
So after seeing this, is Jordan the GOAT, or are you still a Kobe guy?
I mean, I'm always going to be a Kobe guy, dude. I grew up watching Kobe. He was, I guess you can say, like, since I don't really remember Michael Jordan that much, he was my Michael Jordan. And, yeah, I'm not going to take away credit after seeing that of MJ. Like, he was fucking unreal. But, my guy, dude, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant.
Honestly, though, if they did make, like, a 10-hour thing on Kobe, similarly, like, he went through in the middle of his career after winning those first 3 championships. We know what happened in Denver. Like, he would have to talk about that. So I think the timelines would kind of line up as far as, like, a 10-hour documentary. He would talk about that, maybe.
I kind of hope they don't do a 10-hour documentary. Like, 2 to 3 hours at max. Like, I was kind of... I didn't like... Yeah, I get it. Like, it was something to look forward to on Sundays. But it's like...
Yeah, you think quarantine helped this documentary? I still think people would have watched every Sunday.
I just think, like, 10 hours, like, it's kind of... Like, some of the stuff they put in there was kind of, like... dude, why do we need to know about this?
Like what?
Like,
Don't say Steve Kerr. We needed that.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Thanks for putting words in my mouth.
No, I'm saying don't say that.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say, like, what's his name? God, now I'm stuck.
Who?
The whole, like, B.J. Armstrong thing. To be honest, that was nonsense. Like, I didn't...
I know, I did, but that probably is Another Jordan story that he wanted to tell because he got back at someone.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he has some great stories in there. Like, when he punched Steve Kerr in the face, and basically Steve Kerr became trusted after that because he didn't back down.
Yeah, Michael Jordan felt so small for punching the littlest guy on the court.
Yeah, and I love Dennis Rodman. That guy's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I think people still want to know more about that guy, and he got his own 30 for 30, and I didn't.
He did, and actually, it was a great 30 for 30.
It was sad. It was definitely great. Like, you definitely watched that, and I think people who don't know about Rodman watch this 10-hour special. They're probably thinking, man, this guy's a head case. But if you know how Dennis Rodman grew up, they touched on it a little bit, but there's more to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's for him to even get to where he was with what he grew up with was pretty shocking. And I just loved it. Dude, the guy ditched practice to go party with Hulk Hogan and hit a dude in the fucking back with a chair on national television.
Yeah, and in the same season where he decided he needed a trip to Vegas when Scottie Pippen got back.
And your whole team doesn't even know where you are. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Steve Kerr story was needed. That was great. I was reminded of it. A lot of people didn't know that. Just heartbreaking. You could see it in his eyes still. And what was the other story that I took? Damn it. I just had it, dude. You lost me. The director. So the director hasn't talked to Jordan since he interviewed him. I think he interviewed him 2 times during this entire thing. Has no relationship with Michael Jordan. And he said if he could touch on one more thing that he didn't really get to, he says you can make an entire documentary from Michael Jordan's freshman year of high school to his junior year of college. Like, there was a lot of stuff there that Jordan gave out. Like, they talked to his Babe Ruth coach, talked to a couple different colleges that were recruiting him, how he got kicked out of school a couple times his freshman year, and no Jordan brother had ever missed a class, anything. And he got kicked out of school for fighting, and the fights were warranted, definitely, but that's something interesting that the director said.
Yeah, I didn't like how the director said how if anyone was portrayed bad in this, it was Isaiah Thomas. He really wasn't portrayed that bad. If I gotta say anyone was portrayed bad, it was Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, and I think Isaiah was probably. It came off weird because Isaiah was kind of went on like an apology tour after his spot came up in episode whatever it was 3, I think. He kind of went around the rounds on ESPN and whatever show it was, kind of apologizing. And there's no reason to apologize what you did 20 years ago. That's how you became who you were, and that's by all accounts the second best point guard to ever play the game.
Yeah,
and they also have their own documentary. It's a phenomenal documentary. People should go back and watch that one.
Bad Boys is a great documentary.
Yeah.
So that shirt, by the way, somewhere.
What shirt? Bad Boys?
Yeah, with their faces on it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sure.
I think we got a shout out if we're talking about documentaries. Me and you have watched Momentum Generation, the surfing one on HBO. That's a must watch.
Amazing documentary on their highs and lows of what those dudes grew up with.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch any documentary, that one for sure. 90s surfing, Kelly Slater and those guys coming up. We watched it about 3 times already. You're the beer guy. Love craft beer. Crafty Dutchy 10 on Instagram. You should follow it. I looked up an article today by Eno Saris, I believe his name is, from the Athletic, and it was right up your alley. He was ranking the best craft beer, all 30 major league stadiums. I'm gonna have you try to. Well, first, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Dodgers?
Oh, it's horrible. I'm not a fan of Golden Road at all, and I know Golden Road made a blonde. It's called like Golden Spikes, and it's for the Dodgers, but I don't really consider that craft beer. I think like the ones you don't hear about that aren't in stadiums are better. So
Yeah.
for this guy to go and rank like stadium beers is kind of ridiculous.
No, but he ranked it. He's obviously I think he's an Angels beat writer, so I think he's been to all these stadiums, and he's a huge brewery guy, so he knows the local breweries, and he wanted to see how many of these stadiums actually have the local ones inside the stadiums, and he broke it down. So he gave 1 through 10, 10 being best, ranking the top beer, the average beer he gave a score, and then accessibility, like what levels these beers are on. Is it easy to get at the stadium? Dodger Stadium, you can only get the great beers, I'm sorry, at club level. That's the first level, which sucks.
No, actually,
They have Campy's Corner, which has a lot of good brews.
Not anymore. That's changed.
No, well, they have the craft beers at the top, but Campy's Corner legitimately has like a wall, and you could get some low key beers down there that are very good.
Well, they also have on the loge level and the bottom level at the end of the stadium, they have where you can get a bunch of craft beers. But the only thing I don't like is, I get it, it's LA, but they charge, fucking $25 for a can.
He said that.
Normal can.
That's why Dodgers were ranked 27 on his list out of 30 teams.
But I also get it. Like, these breweries are trying to make money, and it's obviously it's in LA.
Well, you know what's crazy? So you would have liked him. Like he said, Dodgers are 27. The club level has the best beers. And he mentioned, like, I don't know if you've been to these. He mentioned Highland Park Brewing. He mentioned
Great brewery.
Yeah, he mentioned El Segundo, and then he mentioned Beechwood, and he said these are like the best LA breweries, but they're not in the stadium. Like, those are the ones that should be there, and that's what he was looking for and didn't get.
I disagree on 2 of those.
What? El Segundo should be in there. Oh, I love El Segundo.
Definitely El Segundo should be in there. They're a baseball brewery. They for sure should be in there.
We went to Beechwood before.
Beechwood's right down the street from my house. Their beer is average to me. I mean, I shouldn't say average. They got good beer, but it's not. I think El Segundo has great beer, and that new pizza spot they even opened up was freaking amazing.
Yeah, we watched the Kobe Memorial there.
Just like an old school pizza parlor with really good beer. The Highland Park's got good beers, but I think there's better ones down there. We went to. By the way, Kashi is wearing a full-on Dodger outfit right now. It's with pants, belt, socks, and everything.
Hey, you got to get a picture of that.
Yeah. I think we went to it before. I think Indy's a great brewery.
Yeah, you mentioned like 4 or 5. None ring a bell. Highland Park was the one.
If people don't know about their logo, it's a freaking awesome logo. It's a hops, and like the top points of the hops is the city of LA.
Yeah, Skyline.
Boomtown, another good brewery.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of biased on maybe those are the only breweries he's been to. So I don't know.
But it does. But that just tells you it sucks because there's a lot of great breweries in LA, and how Dodger Stadium can't get them in there is tough.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but obviously some of those aren't pushing their beer hard enough, I guess. Like those breweries, but.
So he mentioned Angel Stadium came in number 21 on the list. I didn't know this, but Noble Ale, he gave them a shout out, and they actually have their beer Nose Candy in the stadium.
Yes, they do. Noble Ale Works is a great brewery. Very small, but
It's a good vibe. Good vibe though.
great vibe. Too bad it's the Angels. But they do have Anaheim is just known for having great breweries,
And they surround the stadium. That's a plus. Right across the street.
Yeah, right across the street you got Carl Strauss, you got Golden Road, you got Backstreet Brewery, you got
Noble
Ale Works, you got the new one Brewheim, which is very good. All American Ale Works.
Yeah, and Dodger Stadium, not a plus, they're like 10, 15 minutes from the stadium, but you gotta trek, and they're not in great areas.
But you know what? wouldn't trade it for anything because that stadium is a hell of a lot better than 80 Stadium.
1,000%. So I'm gonna make you guess the top 5 craft beer stadiums in this guy's opinion.
All right.
Let's go.
So you want me to go?
Yeah.
All right. I think one is going to be Petco Park, San Diego Padres.
Petco's number 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've been to number 1. I'll give you that hint. You've actually been to the top 3.
Okay, so I'll say Petco. I'll say Busch.
No, they're in like middle of the pack. And they said it kind of sucks because they're licensed with Busch, so not a lot of craft. And I don't think craft beer is that big out in Missouri. Actually, I take that back because top 5.
I'll say, I know another good one. Safeco.
Safeco's number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've been there. There a lot of breweries around there, and they must get them in.
That was probably the best vibe place I've ever been to.
Yeah. So,
Is that a sucker? Awesome.
all right. What's number 3? You've been there.
And number 3 is probably going to be, let me guess, the worst team in all of MLB baseball. The AT&T Park.
Yep, Giants.
They don't even deserve to say their name.
Yeah. How was Brew there when you went for your honeymoon?
Actually, we went to, I don't know if you've heard of it, 21st Amendment.
Yeah, I've had their beer with the
It
fist.
was a pretty cool vibe. You know, San Francisco is actually a shithole place, but I will say their food and beer and stuff like that is top notch, man. They got great breweries up there, great food. I mean, we spend a lot of money on food up there, but the city, not a big fan of at all.
There's no way you're gonna guess number 4 and 5. Like, it actually shocked me that they're on here.
Number 4.
I'll give you the division. They're both in the AL Central.
Really?
Yeah.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Kansas City?
Yep, that's number 5.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got to go there because their barbecues, apparently, hands down, the best.
Well, we had our opportunity. It was super cheap. I had it set up and everything, and you bailed out.
Whatever. If you get number 4, like, this is wild because this stadium is like probably the last stadium I'd want to visit personally.
AL Central. Detroit?
No. But that guy did mention that it's a low key like beer spot though, Detroit.
AL Central. The Indians?
Nope.
What is it?
It's the White Sox, dude. Guaranteed rate field.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I can kind of see that. I mean,
well, what I was reading about this on the top 5, like just his little paragraphs that he wrote, is a lot of these places, which is freaking awesome. Every place should have it. Is I think the White Sox have a place called the Beer Cave, and you basically like go in there and there's just all kinds of beers, local beers everywhere, and they don't.
I'll have to ask Dylan Bell because Dylan Bell's actually been to that stadium. Shout out to him.
But shouldn't they have those at every stadium? I think Dodger Stadium, like, hopefully them building that center field plaza. I know there's a playground for kids, but maybe they do something with craft beer out there. I don't know.
I hope. I don't know, man. They're more of like looking into family oriented stuff like that. But if you haven't been to Dodger Stadium, there's a spot right off of Vince Scully Ave, right below it, called Sunset Beer Co.
It's on Sunset.
Yeah, well, it's on Sunset, but it's right down the hill of Vince Scully. And it's freaking awesome. I mean, they have tons of craft beers, and you just grab it, and then they'll open the beer for you, and you just drink it. It's actually an awesome spot.
That's what we realized, though. Like, forever, people say, like, oh, Dodger Stadium's in the middle of nowhere. But if you explore, like, the last couple years, opening day, going to Little Joy, like, that place pops off. It's a little hole in the wall. We've been to the shortstop. It's too dark for me in there. But there's even a little place, I think it's called the Gold Room. You get a beer and a shot of tequila for $5. Sunset Brew during the playoffs, they put up a huge projector. It's like a little hipster spot. It's awesome.
Yeah, we've been to Boomtown,
Boomtown.
Arts District.
What's the one that we went to? You said it was on some TV show or something.
Yeah, it's Iron Triangle.
That one's cool.
And actually, there's a Netflix original of the actual brewery, but it's called a show like Beer Masters or something like that. But the stuff around that, like the shortstop was actually really cool with having all the Dodgers photos.
Yeah, that's cool.
Posted up in there. I just like those places have been around forever, and it's kind of, I get it. It's like in a shithole area, but like you said, if you just go out and explore right around that area, there's tons of awesome spots.
Shithole area, but it's the same. Like it's just you and a bunch of Dodger fans, like just shooting the shit. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the same vibe as inside the stadium.
The only thing that sucks is walking up that fucking hill to the stadium.
Yeah, it's brutal, especially on a hot day, but you'll get over it fast. One last question. I know you probably have the better games in your lifetime, or in both of our lifetimes, but you've just attended it. But I saw a question on Instagram, AM570 Sports Radio asked, the greatest game you've ever attended? Dodgers.
God, I have so many.
Yeah, but you got to break it down.
Say, God damn. One of the greatest games I probably have ever been to was opening day in 2009. The Dodgers came out from the stands, and I was sitting like 4 seats back from the visitors' dugout. I got to, shake hands with Rafael Furcal, Kuroda, Andre Ethier, and then I remember like they were playing the Giants, which is even better, and we got all you can eat, like of the steak and all that stuff, and Chad Billingsley pitched like one hell of a game, and then I remember Andre Ethier hit a bomb. We had several Dodgers hit bombs, and one of my favorite Dodgers ever, Joe Torre kind of treated like shit, was Orlando Hudson hitting for the cycle on opening day.
Yeah, we got to find that poster, dude. We used to have the poster in the garage. All he needed was a triple, and it's him pointing to the sky.
It was the sickest moment. I mean, wasn't even thinking about it. Thought I would never see a cycle hit. But his last at bat is he needed a triple, and which is probably, I'd say, one of the hardest things you have to hit.
Yeah.
To get the cycle.
And not to mention at Dodger Stadium, that's not Coors Field. Like you're not getting triples at Dodger Stadium.
Down the lines is short, man.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was like, oh, he's got to go for it. He's got to go for it. And he goes for it, makes it. And
so you knew before when he comes up to bat that he needed a triple. Like everyone in the stadium knew.
Everyone knew.
All right, that's awesome.
Because he was hitting the hell out of the ball. And when we saw, I want to say they might have said something, or you look at the board and it says, what he has, and it says, one more hit away from the cycle, and all he needs is a triple.
Yeah, that's
I'm pretty sure every fan in that stadium was rooting for him to hit a triple, and he hits a shot, man, and he's going for it. And that was probably one of the. And then, I got several, but another top moment.
Well, let's not leave out that not only did he hit a triple, but he has to run home to third with the fattest dip in his mouth, because that's what he was known for.
Correct. And, on opening day, what better way could you beat the Giants?
So would you rather have been at, well, obviously you were at that one, but opening day when Kershaw hit a homer and pitched a complete game against the Giants, I wish I was there.
Actually, I have another moment.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Vince Scully's last announcing game at Dodger Stadium during the regular season, and Charlie Culberson walks off the game for us, and we clinched the NL West. And that was probably one of the hottest and best games I've ever been to.
Here's my rebuttal to that. I didn't go. I sold my ticket. But why would you want to be at the game that Vince Scully's calling unless you have your headphones in, like the old dudes used to do it?
Because Vince Scully came out when we won it and gave a special speech to everyone, and that was pretty cool.
And he sang a song.
Yes, and he sang the song.
Wind Beneath My Wings.
Yeah, I know I can always go back and listen to that game. It's not hard to listen to that game. But when I'm there and I see him give everyone a speech, it was pretty moving, man.
Man, Culberson, just absolute legend.
Another good game, but not at Dodger Stadium.
Jesus, I asked for your best, all right? Are you doing top 3 now?
Yeah, I am, because this was kind of crazy, but when we went to Safeco Field, it was like the Mariners were getting worked 6-0 or something like that.
Yeah, we looked it up recently. I totally forgot.
6-0, and they actually won the game 11-6. And I remember them having bases loaded and looking at you and telling you, hey, dude, this guy's going to hit a granny right now. Next pitch, sure enough, he hits a grand slam.
And that guy might have been out of the big leagues the next day, which is great. I've never heard of him since then. That was another game where it was 100 degrees, but awesome. We walked to our car, and traffic's just so bad. We're like, let's just park the car back and go to the bar right down the street. We go to the bar.
People want to complain about Dodger Stadium traffic.
That was bad.
Absolutely
The
insane.
worst 2 traffics I've ever experienced at any stadium is Angels and Safeco. But that was awesome that that's the greatest thing. You just walk to a bar, wait till traffic dies down. And I remember we were, Little League World Series was going on and we were taking fireball shots. Nothing better.
I do remember that, right next door.
Yeah, that was I forgot what that's called, but it was all Mariners out. Griffey, old jerseys and stuff. Pretty awesome. Great experience. I want to thank you for coming on. It was a sick podcast. Last time you came on was 2 years ago, and we ranked the top baseball movies and drafted a team. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on, but you're doing a good job. Keep it going.
Yeah, I got my shirt on. I washed it, and it came out to be an extra small. So.
Yeah, you were supposed to wash it and then not dry it in the dryer.
Well,
I'm wearing actually my 10After7 shirt right now.
Well, when we get on Zoom and we could actually have you and your face on here, and when I can see the kids, that'll be a greater podcast. But thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hold on, your biggest fan wants to say something to you. Cash, come here.
Cashy.
You want to say something to Uncle? He's in his Dodger outfit.
All right, we'll tell the kids I love them. Tell Kaylee I love her. I'll see you soon.
All right, love you, bro.
Love you, man. Later.